And here we go. So the first thing that we are going to do today is we are going to talk about how to model a fraction. Okay, model a fraction. For instance, if I gave you the fraction 1/4 and I gave you a square, okay, so again, I gave you the fraction 1/4 and I gave you a square, and I said that I wanted you to model 1/4 by using that square. So what are some options here, Edwin? All right, so a line down the center and then a horizontal line down the center. Okay, now what? Color one in. Okay. That is one of our options, right? Now, could I have chosen any one? Yes, any one I could have chosen. So the 4, now in a fraction, I know this is review, but is the bottom number the numerator or denominator? It's the denominator, okay. And what does the denominator represent? This 4, what does it represent? What does it mean? For what? 4 total pieces, right? Total pieces. Okay, so again, the bottom number, the denominator, tells you how many total pieces, whereas the top number, which is called the numerator, what does it tell you? Filled in or selected, right? Pieces selected, we'll say. Because sometimes they'll say how many are not colored in, how many are colored in. You have to read carefully sometimes. Now, are there other ways to show 1/4 in that square besides the way that Edwin told me to do it? Yes. Okay. All right. So I'm not going to spend tons of time drawing lots of beautiful, beautiful pictures, but good. I like that idea. You could draw an X and then color one in. That's a nice idea. I've done that way. Any other ways? How else, Madison? All right. So you could have lines 1, 2, 3 like this. Yes? That would work. Well, I'm just saying squares now. But yes, a circle would be a whole other options, right? Madison Hutt, what do you think? All right, so square with lines going the other way. Now, what is important about all of these? Besides the fact that they all have 4 total pieces and we've selected 1 piece, they're all models. What's something important about when you break up a shape? You have to have equal size pieces. Good job. So, super important. And I know that I didn't get a ruler out and this is not perfect, but it's pretty close, right? You want equal size pieces. Now, some people have a hard time with that, but you want to try the best you can to get them as equal as possible, okay? So let's do one where we do have a circle, because those are the 2 main kind. You have a rectangle. A square is a rectangle, you guys. You have a rectangle or you have a circle, okay? Let's do the number 3/8 and use a circle. How do you use a circle? 8 pieces. What do you think? An X, okay. You like these X's. Line down the middle. Yep. Now, again, I know this is not perfect, but there it is. Yeah, it's kind of like a pizza or a pie with an E, not an I. Before we were saying pie, P-I. Now I'm saying pie, P-I-E. Not the number pi. All right, so again, line straight down, a line across the middle horizontally, and then an X, like Luke was saying. And then we would have 3, okay? And it doesn't matter which 3. They can be right next to each other. Usually they're right next to each other, but they don't have to be. They can be any 3 you want. Okay, we feel fine about modeling, yes? Okay, let's move on. to the next thing I want to review, which is how to simplify fractions. How to simplify fractions. Now, another word is sometimes used. So whenever you say it has another name, it's also known as, aka, reduce. So you may hear a teacher say to reduce the fraction. That just means simplify it. They mean the same thing, okay? So we want to make sure that we're looking to see, is there any numbers that you can divide the top and the bottom of your fraction by? There's no fraction here yet. Oh, I thought you were telling me an answer. And I was like, wow, you're audit, because I haven't even written anything yet. All right, so if we have 8 over 12, how could we simplify, or reduce, this fraction? Madison. They can both be divided by 2. Now, do you have to do the same number on top and bottom? Yes. So that's important. Whatever you divide the top by, you have to divide the bottom by. Do not choose different numbers. That would change things around. So that's going to give me 4 over 6. Am I done? What can I do now? I can divide by 2 again. And that's going to give me 2/3. Did I have another option here? The same fraction. What's another option that I have? Divide by 4. 2/3. Now, the advantage of dividing by 4 is that it only took me one step. But did I end up with the same answer? Yes. So both ways are correct. Both ways are fine. If you are more comfortable doing it in multiple steps, then use multiple steps. When you only do it in one step, you are dividing by the GCF. What is GCF? Oh. One step. Divide by GCF. Greatest common factor. But if you don't know greatest common factors, and you're not very good with your multiplication facts, then it's okay. Just do it in multiple steps. Just make sure that you keep going until you can't go any further. So let's do some examples with these. How about I give you 14 over 16. You try that one, and you try 12 over 32. Try those both. All right, so 14 over 16. What can I divide both 14 and 16 by? 2. So 14 divided by 2 is, and 16 divided by 2 is, can I do anything else with 7 over 8? No, that's it. 12 and 32. What can I divide 12 and 32 by? 12? 4? I can't divide by 12. I agree with 4. I agree with 4. I agree with 2. You cannot do it by 3. You have the options of 2 or 4. That's your only options, okay? Now, some of you that were trying to divide by 6, maybe you were thinking 36 divided by 6 or 30 divided by 6. Those of you that were dividing by 12, you were thinking of 36 divided by 12. So be very careful. That's the kind of the bad part about if you just go instantly to one of those bigger numbers, sometimes you make errors. So if you are not 100% sure, then start with your 2. How do I know that they're both divisible by 2? How do I know they're both divisible by 2? They have a 2 at the end. They're an even number. If it ends in a 2, 4, 6, or 8, or 0, it's even. I can divide by 2. So that's always a good starting spot. And then I can do it again. And there it is. Now I could have instantly done that. 12 divided by 4 is 3. 32 divided by 4 is 8. But again, some people struggle with multiplication facts, which then causes issues with these fractions. Let's talk about what happens if you have a mixed number that you need to simplify. Let's say you have 3 and 6 over 8. What are you going to do with that? We're going to simplify, okay? Simplify, not changing it to improper. Any idea? How would you simplify this? Just do the fraction. You're not doing anything with your whole number. You are only reducing the fraction. So the fraction is going to become what? 3/4. Thank you. All right, so again, your whole number 3 does not change. It is only your fraction that is reducing, that's simplifying. Okay, that whole number just stays out in front of it. Okay, let's move on to the next section, which is writing one of these mixed numbers as an improper fraction. So mixed number to improper fraction. So if I have the mixed number 2 and 1/3, and I want to write this as an improper fraction. Again, I know this is all review, but I also know that probably not every single person in here could do this problem immediately. Not every single person, Julian. Immediately. So that's why we want to review, because we have to be able to have all these skills to be able to add, subtract, multiply, and divide. All right. What then, Julian, since you said you already knew how to do this, how do you do this problem? Can you tell the class? No, you don't have to come up here. Just tell me what to do. Okay. Nick. Very good. So you need to do start down here. You're working clockwise, okay? So you're going this way like a clock. You're going to go 3 times 2 equals 6. And then add on your numerator. 6 plus 1 is 7. What happens with your bottom number? Stays the same. So if you were someone in here that was kind of unsure about this, make sure you have a really good example so you can see what I have written in red, and you don't just put 2 and 1/3 equals 7/3. That doesn't help you. You need to see this times the equal 6, the plus 1, to understand how I got that 7/3. You know how much help you need, so you show it. How about you try then, using that same process, 6 and 4 over 5. Please write that as an improper fraction. 6 and 4 over 5. Who wants to tell me what I do first? Someone I don't usually call on. Kenzie! 6 times 5 is 30. Who wants to tell me the second step? Someone that I don't usually call on, Rihanna. 30 plus 4 equals 34. And my denominator stays the same. Good job. All right. So there's our review with changing a mixed number to an improper. Now let's do the opposite. Let's change improper. This is our last section today. Improper to mixed number. I would say this is probably the least favorite thing because it involves division, and a lot of people do not like division. But that's basically what a fraction is. It's the top divided by the bottom. Okay, and when you start doing more algebra type problems, you will see that a fraction really means division. 9 divided by 4. Top divided by bottom. Some people can do this in their head, okay? And if you're someone that can do it in your head, by all means do it. But if you are not someone that's very good at doing things in your head, mentally, then please write it down. There's nothing wrong with writing it down. All right, so you're wanting to know how many times will 4 go into 9? 2 times. And 2 times 4 is 8. So you'd have how many left over? All right, so a lot of you do that in your head. You say, oh, 4 goes into 9 2 times. And I know that 2 times 4 is 8, so that means I'd have 1 left over. And what does your denominator? Stays a 4. Stays a 4. Now, if you like seeing this long division, well, this is your whole number. And then 1/4. 2 and 1/4. All right, how about you try one of these then? You do 8/3. You do on your paper. Actually, 30 seconds ago when I asked people to do it, yes. People are probably done now. How many times will 3 go into 8? 2 times. 2 times 3 is what? 6. So how many would be left over? And your denominator stays a 2 and 2/3. Again, if you need to do this, do it. There's nothing wrong with it. 2 times 3 is 6. 2 left over. So 2 is your whole number. 2 and 2/3. There it is. Here's a tricky one. Tricky one. How would I write that correctly? Josh. Okay, so first of all, focus just on your fraction that's improper and write your improper fraction as a mixed number like we just practiced. 4 goes into 5 one time with 1 left over and your denominator stays a 4. So 5/4 is 1 and 1/4. And then you take this 2 and you add on that 1 and 1/4 to it to get final answer 3 and 1/4. That's going to be important when we start adding fractions, to be able to regroup them like that. Okay? All right. I'm going to stop now, and I'm going to give you your assignment